It's tough being an animal that comes with a bad reputation, even if you look sweet as pie. But many see cats as being bad news. And it turns out after doing some research that cats get into way more trouble than even I realised. Sometimes cats are guilty of crimes that are so bad that if they were human, they'd now be behind bars. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "The smallest feline is a masterpiece." But today we're going to find out if he was wrong, and they are in fact nothing more than masterminds. And criminal ones at that. I'm Tori Hodgman, and welcome to the Smooth Criminal Podcast. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. A big shout out and thank you goes to Smooth Criminal groupie Shanna for suggesting this week's theme. Also, this episode is dedicated to Kevin and Shirley McTurd, Sally, Kingsley, Moxie, Turdy and Marbles, Django and Indy, and my recently adopted overweight 9-year-old floof, Biscuit. This week at Smooth Criminal, we're looking at cats, and not all of the stories are necessarily about felines that are bad to the bone, like this first one. Oh, I'm getting leg rubs from Biscuit now. Thanks, babes. Let's head to a Tulsa marketing firm called Guru Stew, where a business owner by the name of Stuart McDaniel arrived at work one day to see a small pile of money by a glass door in the office. Now, in the room next door lived a cat called Sir Wines-a-Lot, the resident office cat and mascot. Mr. McDaniel soon discovered that clients had been playing with the cat by sticking dollar bills through a crack in the door, and the sneaky Sir Wines-a-Lot was snatching and stockpiling them. It turns out the cat burglar's endeavours were put to good use as Mr. McDaniel decided to donate the cash to a local cat shelter, as well as starting an online campaign nicknaming Sir Wines-a-Lot the Cash Nip Kitty, and urging locals with a few dollars to spare to pay him a visit to raise money for the homeless. Cash Nip Kitty is a hustler with a philanthropic heart. He will snatch your money and donate it to the Tulsa Day Center for the Homeless. Cash Nip Kitty says, slide $1 through the slot and great blessings will follow. Meow. So we've heard of a cat who liked to steal money for a good cause, but trust me, there's a lot of cats out there who steal all kinds of crazy things. Peter and Bridget Wisemantle of Portswood, England, fostered a very impressive cat burglar named Oscar, who brought home all kinds of things including socks, garden gloves, and most importantly, lots and lots of women's underwear. The Wisemantles contacted the police to let them know what Oscar was up to because they didn't want to be accused of being snowdroppers and stealing their neighbours' undies off their clotheslines. They also did the right thing and canvassed their neighbours, letting them know that Oscar was a serial kleptomaniac. And most of the neighbours were amused rather than angered and were happy to let Oscar keep their knickers. In fact, the Wisemantles found Oscar so endearing, they ended up adopting him and giving him a permanent home. Now, Oscar's not alone as we head across the oceans to New Zealand, where a female cat named Bridget gained notoriety for stealing underwear too. The twist this time? She was into men's underwear. Wow. I managed to track down an article on BBC News where Bridget's owner, Sarah Nathan, documented her cat's obsession with men's undies and said that in only 2 months, Bridget brought home 11 pairs of men's undies and more than 50 socks. And now a quick honour roll of some other notorious burglars. In Wiesendangen, Switzerland, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Wiesendangen? No, we'll go the way we were. In Wiesendangen, Switzerland, a cat by the name of Speedy had such a passion for black socks, he brought dozens of them home, and it got so bad the owners ended up handing out leaflets to neighbour that simply said, "Help, our cat steals." Meow. Another leaflet informing neighbours of a klepto cat did the rounds in Leicestershire, England, thanks to criminal mastermind Henry, who was caught in the act by his owner stealing laundry from a neighbour's clothesline. She then followed Henry, who was carrying a sock in his mouth, back into their house and watched him stash the sock behind his bed. And there she found another 51 stolen socks. Meow. Delightful Chrysanthemum of Chandler, Arizona, was notorious for stealing socks as well. Although one day he returned home, and yes, it was a dude cat called Chrysanthemum, he returned home with a green card, which was promptly handed in to authorities and no charges were laid. Meow. Meanwhile, in Swindon, England, Frankie the Tomcat is an expert at stealing stuffed toys. Returning home, he would push the toys through the cat flap where he would leave them. Frankie never actually played with the toys, but was more of a collector, it seems. And still in England, a cat with the unusual name, which is spelt CWTCH. How the fuck do you pronounce that? Twitch. Hang on. Let's Google it.
CWTCH.
Yep, that's how we spell it.
CWTCH.
That's how we pronounce it?
CWTCH.
Okay then. And still in England, a cat with the unusual name CWTCH started bringing soft toys home after her owners had their first baby. The parade of soft toys seemed endless, and the family launched a website, but sadly the link no longer works, in order to reunite the stolen toys with their rightful owners. And apparently there were a few successful matches too, so there's a happy ending to that story. So why do cats have such a bad reputation? I mean, so far we've got cats stealing money, undies, soft toys. It's all pretty harmless, right? Well, hold on to your hats, peeps, because this show is about to take a sinister turn. Cats have a bad reputation because for a very long time it was commonly believed that cats had the magical ability to suck the souls out of babies. A newspaper called the Annual Register, way back in 1791, reported a child of 18 months old was found dead near Plymouth, and it appeared, on the coroner's inquest, that the child died in consequence of a cat sucking its breath. This appears to be the earliest published story of baby breath-sucking cats, and that story and many versions of it have circulated for hundreds of years. So I kept digging with my moggy research, and I've also discovered that many times a cat has been blamed for the bad actions of their owners. For example, Brett Nash, who in May 2013 was arrested after his wife gave the police a recording of one of their conversations. And in that conversation, her husband had tried to convince her to be his partner in a very serious crime. Nash wanted his wife to lure a lawyer out of his house, and then he and a friend would put a bag over the lawyer's head and bundle him into the back of the car. They were then going to strap a fake bomb to his chest and force the lawyer to rob a bank on their behalf. After the robbery, they were going to take the cash, and then Nash and his partners in crime would take the lawyer back to his house, fill a bathtub with water, and force him to submerge himself in the tub. Now, what does this have to do with cats, I hear you ask? Well, here's the twist. They were going to essentially throw an electrical object into the bath to electrocute the lawyer, and the blame would be placed on the lawyer's cat. How so, I hear you ask? Well, they were going to lock the cat in the bathroom with the victim, so when the police arrived, the cat would be blamed for murdering its owner. Now, thanks to Nash's wife reporting the phone call to the police, the plan was never put into action and Nash was sentenced to 20 years jail. Keith Griffin also decided blaming his cat was the way to go when he was arrested in Florida in 2009 for downloading child pornography. Now look, anyone who has a cat knows how much they love walking all over and sitting on your computer keyboards. And you know, if you've got a Word document open, sometimes you end up with like random words that the cat has typed. So after police searched Griffin's computer and found over 1,000 images saved to his hard drive, who did he blame? Well, Fluffy, of course. Naturally, the police did not buy his story that his cat was a porn site trolling, image downloading fiend, and Griffin was rightfully sent off to jail. And lastly, since we've talked about cats that have committed some fairly minor crimes, we've talked about cats that were blamed for some serious crimes, let's now talk about a cat that really was a little dodgy. Over to Brazil, where on New Year's Day in 2013, a cat was slinking around the entry gates of a medium security prison in Arapiraca. That's how we're pronouncing it. When guards noticed its body was wrapped in tape, they finally caught the kitty and removed the tape and found numerous items underneath, including several saws and drills, a phone, a memory card, batteries, and a phone charger. Prison officer Luis de Oliveira Souza told reporters that the cat had been seen entering and exiting the jail many times. The little felon feline had been raised by inmates, and it came and went from the prison to houses nearby, where many of the inmates' families lived. Officials were unable to work out which of the jail's 263 prisoners had tried to use the feline for their own evil purposes, stating, "It's tough to find out who's responsible for the action, as the cat doesn't speak." Following the cat's arrest and brief imprisonment, it was taken to a local animal shelter to receive medical treatment, and the scheming inmates remained where they belong, behind bars. So that's it for another episode of Smooth Criminal. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, the Smooth Criminal podcast channel on YouTube, on our Facebook pages, Twitter, and also on our website at www.pippa.io. Please rate and review and share with your friends. And if you have any suggestions for future shows, please email us at smoothcriminalchannel@gmail.com. So that's it for another week. And remember, don't get hit by, don't get struck by a smooth animal.